Good evening. It is Thursday, April 11th, 2024, and coming to you from Lonely Tree Media headquarters in Tacoma, Washington, this is the Best Lamb Sports Show. I'm your host, David Lamb. With me, as always, is my son, Parker. Say hello, Parker.
Hello, Parker.
So we got some things to talk about today. We're gonna talk about the men's and women's NCAA final, the championship. Um, I got one of the two right.
I didn't get either right.
Yeah, I got one of the two right. Not that that's any good, but 50-50. I had a 50-50 shot at it, I think. But we have lots of things. The NFL, we're going to talk about some new rules. We're going to talk about the Masters tournament just kicked off today, right? With round one. And then we're going to lead off with, I'm going to do this. So O.J. Simpson, football superstar, Hollywood actor, and maybe murderer, acquitted murderer. Is that fair?
No, if they're acquitted or found innocent,
Alleged.
you could say accused.
He was accused.
Murderer.
He was
He
charged.
was
even.
accused. He was accused by the state. So that's why you can say accused, but possible murderers leaves it open when a jury of peers shut the door.
Although a civil trial says he's liable for the death. So if you
but
didn't murder,
a civil trial can say anything.
Yeah, but if you didn't murder someone, how can you be liable for their death?
It doesn't mean that something you did didn't have harm on others, right?
I mean,
criminally you didn't do anything, but that doesn't mean that you driving a Bronco down the interstate, and generating all this news and media and things like that wasn't in some way devastating to the family.
That was Al Cowlings. He's the one who drove the Bronco.
Yeah, allegedly.
It was OJ was just distraught in the passenger seat. I was at basic training when that happened. Your mother was actually visiting me in Augusta, Georgia, when that happened. So there's your Masters tie-in right there. But yeah, she was actually visiting me, and we were out at dinner, and that was on the news, and we couldn't figure out why every TV in the restaurant had this white Bronco on it. Well, it was O.J.
Wanted a white Bronco ever since.
Right? I mean, who hasn't?
I don't remember it at all.
Well,
how old would I have been?
You would have been 6.
Yeah, I probably wasn't too concerned with
the
news.
No, it wasn't a big deal. But I mean, it was a gigantic news story at the time. O.J. Simpson played 11 seasons in the NFL. He was the MVP, NFL MVP in 1973 when he was the first player to rush for 2,000 yards in a season in a 14-game season, by the way. Yeah, and he averaged 6 yards a carry that year. 2,003 yards, 12 touchdowns. Hands down the MVP. He won 90% of the MVP vote that year, and he should have. Also AP Offensive Player of the Year. He was the runner-up for MVP in 1975 when he had 1,800 yards rushing. And all of this was for the Buffalo Bills. His last 2 seasons he played in San Francisco, but he played from 69 to 79. He was he finished 4th in the AFL Rookie of the Year vote, because in 1969 the Buffalo Bills were in the AFL. So some of his professional yardage is AFL yardage too, but yeah, he averaged 4.7 yards a carry. There's only I think 3 guys in NFL history that have averaged more yards per carry than him, and that's Barry Sanders, Jim Brown. Oh, and I forgot the other one. I just had it written down. I thought I read it.
Barry Sanders, Jim Brown.
Yeah, I don't know, but he averaged 4.7. Sure those guys were all 5 yards a carry, so or a little more.
Ooh.
But yeah. Anyway, he's 21st on the career rushing yards list, only because he only played in 135 games. There are guys that are hovering right around him that have the same number of yards that have played in a lot more games than he did, because he averaged 83 yards per game, which doesn't sound like a lot, but 83 yards per game is pretty darn good over a career, considering his last 2 seasons he averaged about 40 yards a game. So, yeah. Anyway, there you go. Yeah, O.J. Simpson. So, not that it's any kind of exciting, but dead at how old was he? He died of cancer, by the way. So he had cancer. So
He is one of the best football players who is one of the most irrelevant people
yeah,
overall, meaning like it doesn't
uh,
he is not an NFL player if you look at the NFL.
there's there's two things he'll be famous for. He was the first player to break 2,000 yards in the NFL, right? Okay, he's going to be
Yeah.
forever famous for that. And then there's the other thing,
No, but they just won't talk about that.
right?
They'll
No,
just
they
they'll just
won't.
talk about the most recent ones who've done it.
Right. Well, yeah, and
Yeah.
see now it's
He will be heavily distanced
right.
for forever.
And now 2,000 yards becomes okay. You played in how many games? You played in 16, 17 games now, and maybe playoffs thrown in there. I mean,
Yeah.
you only have to average. Like I always said, 1,000 yards was always the benchmark. 1,000 yard season was like a big deal for NFL running backs.
Yeah.
In a 16 game season, you only need 66 yards a game to have 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
That's not a lot. I mean, so yeah, I don't know, but back in the day when it was only 14 games, you had to have a few more yards. 80.
Looks like he stopped playing in 79.
79.
And the murders took place in 94.
Oh yeah.
Which puts a solid 15 years in there, which is right on pace with about when CTE symptoms start to expose, right between that 10 to 17 year mark.
And it's entirely possible. And maybe, hopefully that a lot of these NFL players that pass away at this age that played in an era when there weren't as many forbidden contact rules, you know what I mean? That
Well, there wasn't good equipment.
there wasn't good equipment either, right? No, but I mean,
it was crap equipment.
you could hit a guy in the head to
rules.
head, and it wasn't a foul in 1973.
Right.
And, so there were a lot more shots. You took a lot more vicious shots with less helpful equipment. Sure. So I'm hoping that these guys that are like donating their brain, to science, they can figure this out. I think they've made great strides in protective equipment, but it's still it's a thing, right? So anyway,
yeah.
Anyway, there you go. So let's talk about the new NFL rules, because speaking of that, protecting players, let's talk about the hip drop rule. And I had pictures, and there's the white Bronco for you.
Nice.
Yeah, right. So that was.
Look at this one guy who's on the interstate still in the red car.
Well,
like, where are you going?
There's like two on the far right lane, right? And then there's how many cops?
Pull off.
I mean, he's late for work. There's not.
I see people get into this like panic mode when police officers and things are happening, but they don't stop moving. Like you don't want to just slam on your brakes, but they're like, I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna keep driving.
Right. If I'm gonna slow down a little. I know I'm supposed to do that, but I'm not.
I guess if you slow down and just stay in your lane and don't do anything erratic, you're easy to predict.
Do you know? And I watch, and it's stupid, but I watch all the stupid cop shows. I watch On Patrol live, right? And if you watch it long enough, and you see some of these super high speed chases that go down the freeway, right, where they're doing 110 or whatever, I would be terrified to move out of the lane, because I am tootling along at 70 or 75 or whatever, whatever I'm at, 10 miles above the speed limit or whatever I'm at, and they're coming fast, and at that point I can't decide, should I move over? Do I have time to move over? Is he going to move over as I move over? You know what I mean? There's almost no reaction time by the time you see them, because they're going 40 miles an hour faster than you are. They're going to catch you in no time. So I would be scared, but I mean, I don't know. It's if you saw, this was a low speed chase. This one doesn't really count. They weren't going that fast. So, and there are like 9 police cars on the freeway there. I feel like
he knew the move. Just take it slow.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, they're not gonna. What are they gonna do if you just go slow? They're not gonna try. You're not a threat, really.
Well, if they know that they're probably all aware by this point that that's O.J. Simpson in that car.
Yeah.
And they're aware that there's 30 news choppers in the air.
Yep.
If you pit maneuver and kill O.J. Simpson
and Al Cowlings.
Yeah, sure. That is
sure.
Not great.
He said, "Sure."
Sure.
Sure. Him too. Oh my gosh. So yeah, let me move on. Hip drop tackle. That's what we're talking about.
Hip drop.
The hip drop rule states this. It is a foul if a player uses the following technique to bring a runner to the ground. He has to A, grab the runner with both hands, or wraps the runner with both arms, and B, unweights himself by swiveling and dropping his hips and or lower body, landing on and trapping the runner's legs at or below the knee.
Sure.
That's what the rule says. Penalty is 15 yards, right? Automatic first down.
Sure.
Here's my question
The cost will be more.
to the rules expert. Here's my question. So if I grab him with one hand and unweight myself and fall on his legs, it's okay, right? Because A and B both you have to do both A and B. So if I just grab him with one hand, it's okay. That's my question.
I don't know. Then
I don't
maybe
know,
they'll
right?
change it after the first year.
And they probably will. There'll be adjustments because it literally says.
Well, hold on. This just says occurs when a defender wraps up the ball carrier.
I'm reading.
It doesn't say with two hands. Where's the NFL's website?
I am reading Rule 12, Section 2, Article 18, hip drop tackle. So.
Oh, here you go. So NFL updates. This is operations.nfl.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grabs the runner with both hands or wraps the runner up with both arms.
Yeah.
That's a weird way to say that.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Because
that
leaves it open.
That'll get changed.
I'm sure.
It's the first year. Give it a year. It'll get changed.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm just it's
because
one of those...
because it's going to be more about the intent than it is going to be about how you do it.
Right. I don't know. That's true. And my issue is this. Here's my issue. How are you supposed to bring a guy down if you don't use your body weight to bring a guy down? That's usually you do.
You can use your body weight. They're just saying you can't use your body weight to trap their legs.
But I have no control over where his legs are. I'm going to grab him and pull him down.
I understand. They will adjust. They're getting paid millions of dollars to figure out the answer to this problem, or you stop paying defenses as much, which is happening, and you start paying offenses more, which is happening. So that way you can score more points, which is what the NFL wants.
Oh, and I agree.
They want more points on the board, and they want more points on the board and less injuries of key players. Apparently, this does a 20-time higher injury rate.
I'm sure
than any other tackle on the field.
This is just the same reason why they did the horse collar tackle, right? Because you're pulling a guy down while he's moving forward.
Freaking moaned about that and said that it was, you're ruining the game. Let them be men. Let them hit each other. And now no one cares and everyone agrees with it.
I don't.
Because it's harsh. If anyone's ever been hip dropped or horse collared, it probably sucks.
I don't. The horse collar tackle was like one of those things that before it happened, before they changed the rule, I didn't see it that often. You just didn't notice it, right?
I feel like the opportunity to have it happen is small. Like there's a really small window where I bet you've seen it. People try to do it a whole bunch and just fail. Can't get inside it or can't grab. That's probably happening and it goes unnoticed. But when it does happen, you go, ooh.
And that's
you immediately cringe.
And there's the gray areas that I immediately go. I run to the gray area. That's why I said about one-handed. If I grab him one-handed, it's okay, right?
In theory.
In the horse collar was the same way. Oh, if I grab his jersey up and around the collar, but I don't put my fingers inside his collar, if I just grab the jersey and yank him down from behind while he's running forward and I blow out both his knees, that's okay. It's weird the way they phrase it. Oh, you got to put your hand in. The fingers have to go inside. But if you just grab a hold, that's okay. I'm like, is it okay? You're trying to eliminate the injuries.
It's more okay.
It's more. I guess it's more. It's easier to pull a guy down if you're grabbing a hold of the shoulder pads. You're right. I mean, it's true. It just was one of those things. I see the rule and I go, I get your intent. I absolutely do. The wording and the way it's going to be officiated will be interesting to watch.
You can't horse collar a quarterback inside the tackle box or the pocket. Yeah, apparently that's the rule. So no player shall grab inside of the collar or backside of the jersey or shoulder pads or jersey or grab the jersey at the nameplate or above and pull the runner towards the ground. This does not apply to a runner who is in the tackle box or to a quarterback who's in the pocket. So if you break through there and the runner hasn't got past the line of scrimmage, you can absolutely horse collar the holy hell out of him. And a quarterback who might be like looking the other way.
Right. Yeah, if he hasn't gotten out of the pocket yet. That's the key. I get it. They were trying to eliminate guys running down the sideline and a guy catching him from behind and pulling him while he's running full speed. And I understand that.
Trying to prevent injury. Trying to prevent knee injuries, probably.
Absolutely. And
knee and neck.
I'm with you. But it's just one of those weird rules that doesn't apply when you're in the pocket. Why not? Why wouldn't you want to save the guy's knees in the pocket? Well, because he's not running full speed now. I don't know.
It does say here you don't even have to pull him to the ground. If his knees are buckled by the action, it is a foul, even if the runner is not completely pulled to the ground. So if you put him in a position to get injured at the knees,
So
you're gonna get called.
here's
Yeah.
and so that leads me, that whole thing, right? What you're saying now just leads me into, this is going to become soccer. Oh, he touched me on the back. Oh, he grabbed me around the waist with both hands. Ah, I'm going to go
It's
down
hard. It's
and hope
hard.
he
It's
falls
not
on
going to
my
be
leg.
like soccer. It's
I don't
harder
know.
to do in the
It
NFL.
is.
Like
It is.
it's harder to sell contact, and they tolerate it less. The
Right.
only time you can sell contact is on pass interference calls, and
Some,
that's because there are so many eyes on a one-on-one play downfield.
sometimes on a holding, you'll see them throw their arms, you know what I mean, up on the
I do
guys
see.
rushing
Yeah.
around the edge. You see that. You
Yeah.
see some of the acting, but it's not
But
as
they
bad.
but they still will only call
The issue,
4 of those holdings a game.
and honestly, the only reason you're right and that it won't become soccer is because NFL players are not trained to do that. It is your nature to try and break the tackle.
Except for receivers. Receivers are taught to
They're a little bit
to
diva.
to,
I
to,
mean,
to sell
there's some diva there.
contact.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
running backs
But
are taught to break a tackle.
running backs taught to break a tackle. Quarterbacks are taught to not get tackled or
tackled.
run away from them.
Throw it before you get tackled.
Tight ends are not caught to sell holds and things like that much.
Tight ends are a different world.
I know, but they live in both worlds, so they're used to playing through contact.
That's true.
But receivers are about the only ones who really often sell.
I'm not sure I can.
I don't think it's going to be a problem.
All right, I'm not sure I can pull Travis Kelce down from behind. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
He's big.
Okay, I see this question. I'm going to throw it to you. They had it on their podcast, and you and I asked about it, which was, do you think you can get a yard in the NFL? Do you think you can get 1 yard?
It depends.
You have a full game and a limited amount of plays. Right, it depends on 1,000 things. But do you think you can get one?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
1 yard,
So then I saw this thing pop up yesterday. I can't remember who was talking about it. Do you think you can? Oh no, it was. Maybe it was on their podcast too. It was talking about. Do you think you can score a point on Serena Williams?
Ooh.
And I thought I
maybe.
can walk away from a game with a point, but it will more than likely be
her fault.
Exactly.
A double fault or hits in the net.
Exactly.
Something.
I don't think that I could
score the point.
Actively score the point, but I could walk away with one, which counts as scoring.
I kind of. I don't know.
But like you're saying, can you swing your racket and make a point happen? Like, no.
Maybe.
I don't think I could. I don't think I could hit a serve.
You know what? The only thing I can think of, the only way I could see it happening is if you tried to hit her with every ball. You know what I mean?
Oh,
if you smacked it at her, and hopefully she would miss one. You know what I mean? Because or she, it would hit her and go weird.
You need her to make a mistake.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. The only way I'm ever going to win a point in tennis against a professional tennis player is if I literally hit the ball directly at them, and hope that they just can't get out of the way.
I'll tell you something I know for a fact. I could score a free kick in a soccer game. I know I could.
Probably.
I am more confident in that than in Serena or the NFL. I don't think I could get a hit in baseball.
Okay, I
could probably get a bunt.
This is a good topic because what can or can't we do? What is it in professional sports that could you score a basket in an NFL in an NBA game?
Yeah.
If they put you in right now.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, if I have a whole game, if I have 40 minutes of a game to do it, and I'm not asked to play a ton of defense and get tired in the meantime, right? Like the idea here is that basically you're just present on offensive possessions.
As long as you don't ask me to do anything else.
I could knock down something.
All right. As long as you don't ask me to do anything else. Maybe
I'll
I could get
1
fouled
for 25
and score a free throw. I mean,
I don't even know if I could. I feel more confident that I could hit a shot from the field than hit a free throw.
Really?
In an NBA game, yeah, just because pressure, eyes watching, but like I'm very confident in my mid-range shooting ability. So if I can get a little dump right there, I got it.
Every time I think about shooting a free throw, I picture Shaq, and I can't be more embarrassing than that. So there you go.
It's true. I mean, it's true.
If I make 1 of 2, I'm just doing as good as he did. So the world's good.
Do you think you could get a hit in the NFL or in the MLB?
Yes.
You think so?
I was pretty good in high school, and I have pretty good eye-hand coordination, and I'm a line drive hitter. I'm not a guy who tries to hit the ball out of the park. So
sure,
I know
so you're just making contact.
I know that I can make contact. I don't know how often I would make contact, but I think that if you gave me enough at bats, absolutely I'd get a hit. I mean,
okay, so there's 2 parts to this. You have to not only make contact with the ball, you have to make it to first.
No, that's
true.
What
a hit is.
You're not.
That's what a hit is.
Well, but if I get it to the outfield, I will get to first base. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
if you're asking, can I just
I'm
hit the ball
I'm not talking about a ground ball that
deep?
I beat it out. That's not happening. No, come on now.
Yeah,
I
that's
can't
fair.
beat the throw out anymore. I used to do that when I was young, but I can't do that now. I mean, no way. But yeah, no.
Yeah,
If I get it to the
I'll t-
outfield, there's a good, especially
yeah.
left field. There's a good chance. If it's
There's a good
right
chance you can
field,
jog it out.
there's a
Yeah.
chance I'm going to get thrown out from right field too. I mean, there's that. If you drill a line drive to right field, that right fielder might throw you out of first base. It's entirely possible.
I'll
Um,
tell you the sport I watch all the time that just it makes me feel old and I hurt when I watch it is tag, like competitive tag. You
I
see it on ESPN every now and then.
I've never seen it.
It is look up some highlights. So basically,
I've seen the movie.
it's like a big square court. No, it's like a big square course, right?
Yeah.
Probably 30 yards by 30 yards with
Yeah.
like all these little platforms and think like they kind of look like
Oh gosh. Is
like
it like a
construction
paintball or
latticing.
something? Is it like a
No,
paintball field and there you got to run around and?
No, there's not like those big things. Like everything's exposed. You can see through everything.
Oh,
But you
gotcha.
have guys like jumping and sliding
Is
between
it a
poles and
parkour
things like
kind
that.
of thing?
It's kind of a parkour type deal, yeah.
Oh.
But it's competitive tag, and you basically you start on either side, and you have to hold off for
I-
20 seconds
I will tell you
to get a point for your team.
two things.
Oh,
Number one, I can't play that. Number two, I'm not even watching
I
it.
hate watching it.
I'm not even watching it.
It's fun to watch once, and you go, oh no.
I suppose one time on the Ocho, whatever week that is, right? Or whenever. I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, they show some stuff. Could you kick an NFL extra point the way it is now, from the 30-yard one? You know what I mean? Not the original.
How many chances do I get?
No, it's one snap. It's like a regular. We're going. Hey, all six of our kickers are and our backup, our number 5 wide receiver.
Get in there.
Get in there, and there you are. Could you do it? Like spur them? I mean, you're going to be practicing. I'm not saying you come in cold, but could you kick one?
No, I don't. I don't
think so?
I think I could do it from the old spot. I think I could do the 12 yarder or whatever.
But not
or
the
whatever.
30.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Whatever it is. Now.
No,
That's
I
a
don't-
long
I don't-
ways. I mean,
you know what we used to do at PSU? We used to go out and kick the ball and stuff like that before games, and we did field goals all the time because we always had them, and I did not make them that often then. So I know that is not my knack. I can punt a ball like crazy. I cannot drive a kick.
I was just gonna say, if you need a guy to make a 35-yard punt drop inside the 10, I might be your guy. But
yeah,
but
I know like 6 people who worked at PSU
Yeah.
who are all better than our actual, not in terms of distance of our actual punter. Because you remember that guy Seth Vernon who was on our team? Oh my goodness, 70 yards each time. Like it was crazy.
But he couldn't stop it anywhere
very well. Yeah.
No.
Whereas me and Matt and the other equipment guys, we could all delicately place it right there in the 5 if we wanted to.
You have to be good at delicately placing it if you can't kick it 70 yards.
It's true. It's true. So I think I could coffin corner somebody, but I don't know. I don't think I can. I don't think there's a chance. I think I can complete a pass.
Okay.
I think if I was out of a shotgun, not a drop back. I think if I was out of a shotgun, I think I can complete a pass.
Regular ground ball, you're playing shortstop. Regular ground ball, you think you can throw a guy out at first base?
Yes.
In MLB?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I think I could throw somebody out from home plate right now. Like stealing second.
Ooh, really? That's a tough throw.
Yeah.
That's a long throw.
It's a very tough throw, but it's one of my favorite things. Every time me and Austin would go out and play, that's one of my absolute favorite things to do, and I can nail that. I might not have the velocity that I realize within bigger context, but I get it there, and it's pretty damn accurate.
All right. That's fair.
I think I could do that. That would be pretty. I would be impressed with myself if I did it though.
Yeah, I'd have to play a position like designated hitter.
That's fair.
First base. I mean, I'm pretty good. I played first base. I can do that. I mean,
yeah.
You just got to catch the ball mostly. But yeah, I don't know. That's tough. That's a tough. To perform at the major league level or the NFL level, NBA level, is so hard. I mean, you're going to have opportunities to do something, and like you're saying about getting a yard. Well, my line is what's going to get me the yard. It's not going to be me. It's not going to be me just pushing the pile for a yard. That's not going to happen. But if my line opens a hole,
I don't think I can 1v1. I don't know what I just sent you. Oh, it was a schedule. Sorry. Yeah. I don't think I could 1v1 a person in open space and get a yard.
No,
I don't think that would
not an NFL linebacker for sure. That's you know what I mean? That'd be tough.
But I think I could sneak past the line and then get upfield a little bit.
Right. I think
before I got blown up and murdered.
I think I can get 2 yards. That's what I think.
I don't feel confident about that.
I think if I'm getting one, I'm going to fall forward, and that's I'm 6 feet. That's 2 yards, man. Boom,
It's 2 yards.
2 yards.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So fall forward with the ball out. You should get 2 yards. Anyway, that being said,
Good talk.
it's never going to happen. But all right, it's good. Let's talk about the kickoff thing. So the kickoff, I've got a little diagram up here of the kickoff setup, which is a hybrid. Or they're going to call it a hybrid because it's sort of like what the United Football League is using, but not quite.
Yeah.
And so when the kicker is going to be kicking from the 35-yard line, like they always do, right? And the kickoff start line that you see on here in blue is where your kicking team lines up, right?
Sure.
You have to have 1 foot on the 40-yard line of the other team. Okay?
Yeah.
That's the way it's set. The setup zone is for the other team. They have to be in that setup zone between the 35 and the 30, except for you're allowed 2 returners who can be back in the landing zone. They can be back wherever they want, but they can be back in that landing zone. So everyone else has to be up in that setup zone. And what they're trying to eliminate is the high-speed collision running downfield, getting a 50-yard head start, and drilling a guy. And I understand that. So now you have a 5-yard run, basically, between offense and kicking and receiving teams.
Right.
The kicker can't cross the 50 until the ball it lands in the landing zone or it touches a receiver on the receiving team.
Right.
So he can't run down. He's not going to be making a whole lot of tackles. He's going to be back there. The rules. Let me look at the rules because I got the rules. So the 10 kicking team players can't move until the ball hits the ground or a player in the landing zone or the end zone. So your kicking team can't even run until something happens. The ball comes down, basically. I get it, but this doesn't eliminate the fact that most of these are going to be touchbacks anyway, right? You're not going to get more kick returns out of this.
Well, but they put that into play with the what's it called? Oh my gosh, the new fair catch rules.
Right.
Right. So they're trying to get people to return them. They're just trying to eliminate the majority of the collisions.
Okay, so here's the rest of the rules. Any kick landing short of the landing zone, right? That's the 20 on in, is treated like a kick out of bounds. You get the ball at the 40.
Right.
So if your ball lands at the 25, too bad. Right? Blown dead as soon as it lands short of the landing zone. Any kick that hits in the landing zone must be returned.
Must be returned. Yep.
That's what it says. Any kick that hits in the landing zone and then goes into the end zone must be returned or downed by the receiving team. It's not an automatic touchback.
I love it.
I like that. It means you got to play it.
Go get the damn ball.
Right, but you can just grab it and kneel down in the end zone if it goes in the end zone. But if it just lands in the landing zone.
I've always hated the moment it pops into the end zone. They just
they
blow the whistle. Like, I want him to go touch the ball and down it.
Right. If the kick hits in the end zone and stays in bounds, it can be returned or downed. If it's downed, it's a touchback at the 30.
The 30, yeah.
Right. If it's downed after it lands in the landing zone and goes into the end zone, you only get it at the 20. I think that's weird.
They're trying to penalize you for just letting it go into the end zone.
Right, and I get it. Any kick that goes out the back of the end zone is automatically at the 30. So
that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the miscellaneous rules. No fair catch signals. The official will blow the play dead if you signal a fair catch. I don't know where the ball I don't understand how it works exactly where the ball goes at that point, but there's no fair catch signal allowed. You can't fair catch it. If conditions cause the ball to fall off the tee twice, they're going to use the kicking stick. They're going to use the little holder.
Yeah, the kicking wizard.
Yeah.
They should. I've never understood why they've always insisted on somebody putting their hand there. Yeah, we have tools. Like we're not animals.
So here's the one thing I don't understand when I'm reading. I'm reading this right off NFL Football Operations website, and here's the one thing I don't understand: onside kick rules. It literally says two things. Fourth quarter begins. The team trailing has the opportunity to declare an onside kick to the officials, but only when the fourth quarter begins. I can't onside kick it at halftime.
It's kind of a strange one.
And then it says current onside kickoff rules would apply. if the onside kick goes beyond the setup zone, untouched, the kicking team gets penalized. What? So I don't even understand. Yeah, the return and then it literally says the return team would start the drive at the kicking team's 20 if that happens.
Yeah.
So if you kick it too far out of the setup zone on the onside kick, I don't know where the setup zone is exactly in the onside kick because I thought we were doing regular kickoff rules on the. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. I have to see that in play to figure it out. But the penalties on scoring plays will not carry over and will be taken on the try, which I've always said, why not? Right?
Why not?
You shouldn't get 15 yards on the kickoff. Either you accept the try or you don't.
There's no sense stacking them.
Right. So, and the safety kick will still be from the 20-yard line. Kicker can use the tee or not use the tee, but it's going to be interesting to see how it gets enforced. It just seems weird. Like it's going to take a minute. I feel like there's going to be a game or two in which somebody gets really confused. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't quite know the rules.
Right. Well, yeah, and
Well, without a doubt, the good news is they're practicing them all off season, but that's.
But still, like this last year, you had guys go, I didn't know the new overtime rules. I didn't realize, right? In the playoffs.
you had the one high profile case,
yeah. But I mean, how many other times did it happen and it didn't really matter and nobody really knew?
But his coach knew. Well, his teammates knew.
That's true.
He just happened to be the one saying something, and he did.
We can't keep the most ignorant off the TV. Ignorant among us. Anyway, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like 50 something people on a roster all knew what the overtime rule was, and we just happened to get the one guy.
It's possible.
Although, because Patrick Mahomes knew right away, like the whole Chiefs team knew, right?
Well, they
prepared in theory, right?
Right. And you think that's the special teams guy's job, right? Is to make sure everyone knows, right? Those kind of things. But I don't know. There's probably an overtime guy. He's an overtime head coach. I mean, you know what I mean? There's a coach for everything else. Might as well be. I don't know. Let's talk about the Masters.
Wait, hold on. Before we do that,
there's
a couple other rules that got changed.
I didn't even look at the other rules. What do you
that are nice?
Go.
They allowed for automatic review of turnovers on downs after failed fourth down attempts. I like that because we're gonna go to commercial anyways between possessions, so you might as well look at it.
Right.
So I think that's nice.
I think anytime there's a change of possession, period, no matter how it happens, you should have a review just because.
They made tripping a 15-yard penalty, which it mostly gets called in the offense, so that's a little reprieve for the defense.
Yeah.
Because it was a 5-yard penalty.
Yeah.
But now it's a 15-yard penalty, and it tends to be leaning towards the offense. So that's a good one.
All right.
But then the other one that they did that I like, well, I don't know if I like it, I guess I should say. They changed the definition of launch for a player who leaves both feet to a player who leaves both or 1 foot or one or both feet.
Right.
Like they added in that you could leave with 1 foot. And I specifically remember one hit last year where they said that it didn't meet the criteria because he only leapt off of 1 foot.
Right.
So it can't be a launch. And I'm like,
so it's good.
The hell it can't.
Right? Have you ever seen a guy go up for a layup? That's a launch.
That's
one-footed.
launch.
Yeah, absolutely.
But those are the notable like other ones other than the biggies.
I feel like the launching thing has almost run its course. You know what I mean? Like it isn't. That's not going to apply.
People aren't doing it as much.
Yeah, the new rule's not going to apply.
It's what the horse collar is.
Right.
It's just about
you learn to adapt to it, but
that's another great example. We implemented all these rules a few years ago around targeting and defenseless receivers and contacting the head and neck area. That was like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and now you don't see it that often. It still happens incidentally, but it's infrequent.
It doesn't seem that long ago, though. You know. I mean, it just seems like it was just.
Maybe it was like 2012, but even then, that's still like 12 years.
I don't know, but yeah, it doesn't seem like that long ago.
By the way, it is still not a penalty to snatch somebody's jewelry off their persons. By the way, that is not a personal foul.
Or pull them by their hair,
which I think that needs to be incorporated into.
You'd think.
Well, first of all, you have rules about jewelry anyways to some extent.
They shouldn't
you can't just wear anything.
You shouldn't.
You shouldn't. Most of the time, it's not an issue. So I kind of do or don't mind. That one game where Odell was playing with an Apple Watch because he said he forgot to take it off. He played a half of the game with an Apple Watch.
I mean, what time is it? Time to score a touchdown.
Time to score a touchdown. But but like
I
the
don't
hair
know.
thing, I could see that being ruled into a horse collar.
Yeah, I
Like, but I don't think you can do that because that eliminates if they have long. Why wouldn't you just have extremely long hair and eliminate them being able to touch your back at all?
right. If yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying. So I think it's one of those things where you can't you don't want to penalize the defense for grabbing at a guy and his hair happens to be long and you grab his hair and jersey, right?
right.
So, I mean, but it's absolutely okay to just grab a guy and yank him down by his hair. It's absolutely legal. Um, and there aren't that many guys in the NFL that you can do that to, right? And you
Yeah,
see a lot of long hair on defensive guys, but not on offensive guys so much. And
right.
maybe for that reason, you're not going to tackle a defensive guy unless he's got the ball, picked up a fumble, interception, whatever. That's
Yeah.
not going to happen that often. So I don't know. It's weird.
So I could see them like maybe adjusting that, but also I mean, how often has it been a problem? Marshawn lost a dread once. I
Right.
think I think
But
Derrick
there's a
Henry got
few
pulled down
guys.
one time
Yeah.
by it.
Yeah. Derrick
Yeah,
Henry,
it's
he's got
it's
some hair.
infrequent.
Yeah. Not
I
very
remember
often.
the one where Marshawn was just literally like went over and picked up his dread and then just was like walking with it and then
I
like
mean,
threw it off to the side.
it is what it
Like,
is.
how does that not hurt your head, man?
It has to hurt somewhat,
It has to hurt.
but
It just got
adrenaline,
ripped off your scalp. Yeah, that's true.
adrenaline and all that. You're
And
getting
it got
amped
ripped
up.
out, and then you hit the ground, so there was other feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, something to take away. Give me your finger. Your head hurts. Give me your finger.
Exactly.
Yeah, that kind of thing. I don't know. It's one of those rules that I don't think you'd see happen. I don't see it happen. A guy grabbing a guy by the hair anyway, or grabbing the jewelry. You just don't see it very often. It's just not a thing. But honestly, I think the jewelry becomes more of a hazard in a pile or in a tackle to the other players. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
To some extent. Like, I mean,
If you're wearing an
what's the
Apple
jewelry we're
Watch,
talking about here?
yeah, if you're wearing
Well,
an
that's
Apple
yeah.
Watch, that can, you can scrape somebody, scratch somebody. You can,
Well,
you
it's
can
got
do some
glass
damage.
on it. It can
Yeah.
break. It can
Anything
cut.
can happen.
Yeah.
A necklace,
Like a nose ring,
meh,
I don't personally care about.
yeah,
That's just danger to
that's gonna
yourself
hurt
for the
your
most
nose.
part.
Yeah,
Necklace, most of the time it stays tucked into the
usually they tape
thing,
it
or
down.
if it does, and
Usually,
if it does come out, then it's not protruding out very
right?
far. It's not like it's a giant chain. Usually it's a small one.
Yeah,
I only brought it up because I got the highlight. The highlight of it said Aqib Talib and Michael Crabtree was the best rivalry ever, and it showed like the 5 or 6 games they played against each other.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Aqib Talib snatched off Crabtree's chain twice
They go
in
at
2
it,
different games.
right?
Yeah, I loved
Yeah.
it. That was a fun one to watch.
Yeah, that's good. It'll be interesting. All the rules. I mean, rule changes. They do it every year. There's always something that changes. It just seems like this year these ones are kind of big. That hip drop
Yeah.
thing is going to be interesting because I feel like when a runner is running by you and you're going sideways, you take a pursuit angle, you're going sideways, like parallel to the line of scrimmage, and he cuts up and you go to grab him, your weight
Yeah.
is going to unseat you anyway. You're going to unweight yourself
Yeah, in theory.
because you're going the other way. So how do you fix that? You have to make contact directly and hit him directly square. Otherwise, you can't really grab, or you just grab him with one hand. But I don't know. I don't know. I'll see how it plays out. I don't know. I don't like the
Yeah.
kickoff. I don't like the kickoff thing. Let's just back up and kick from the 20 and have kickoff returns like we used to. I'd love to have kickoff returns. I know the kickers are getting better and they kick the ball out of the end zone all the time. This won't fix that. What you're doing here is you're trying to eliminate
That's
injury.
not what they're.
I know.
Yeah, exactly.
But what?
Yeah,
But
that's
as
but literally they made 2 rules and they're both about eliminating injury.
as a fan, and I know the NFL wants you to see more scoring, I want kick returns. I want a guy to run it back 60 yards. If he doesn't score, great. But if he runs it back 60 yards and they set up shop on the 20, there's going to be a score. I don't want to see a guy
you're
down.
never
going
gonna
to
get Devin Hester again. That's done.
Well, that's true, but I don't need to. If you back up and kick from the 20, they won't get the ball in the end zone, and we're going to have a lot more returns. Have a lot better field position, which means a lot more points.
And a lot. All right. So how about this?
Yeah.
Let's make a concession. We
Okay.
move the whole thing back. Kicker goes back to their own 20. That's where they kick off from. But you keep the line guys the same.
Yeah.
But they're just all pushed back.
Okay.
So the likelihood of it going in the end zone is taken away. You still get a kick return, but you also lose the massive collisions between,
Yeah.
10 of the players on the field or 20
Yeah.
of the players on the field.
I'm okay with that. You could leave this setup as
Fair
is.
enough.
Just move the kicker back.
Just move the kicker and
Yeah.
the lines.
Make
back
it
a
harder
little
for
bit.
him to get a touchback.
Right.
I'll make him kick it 80 yards instead of 65 yards.
We'll see.
So
I'm most curious about this one. And I think the hip drop thing is going to be a not real issue, but I think that this is going to be a strange one to look at. But I don't think it's going to be a problem either because they're doing it in the XFL or the UFL or
right,
whatever it was without any issues. So
you're going to see what you're going to see is a bunch of reviews of did he touch it? Did
did
it
he
get
touch it?
touched
Yeah.
by a guy in the landing zone? Did the receiver actually touch it? Did it bounce into the end zone and then he touched it? Did he make an effort to down it? Did he actually throw his arm? How many guys are going to throw an arm up for a fair catch, forgetting it's not legal?
Right.
At the 10-yard line.
Can you fake down it?
How would you do that?
So basically, you act like you're going to a knee, but you just hover your knee.
I don't know. I think the
I think the
deception.
intention,
Yeah, the
yeah,
deception is part of the rule. I don't know that for
yeah,
sure. I know it's kind of that way like in Major League Baseball. You can't deceive a runner and say, "Oh, I got the ball and I'm sweeping a tag," and make him
right,
slide because you know what I mean. You can't do that in Major League Baseball. Although they do it all the time.
yeah.
It's not officially legal. I think the deception part is the unsportsmanlike part, and I don't know how they're going to enforce that, but I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. According to this, is when the runner simulates placing his knee on the ground
It's
is when it's
down.
officially
You
dead.
got to roll
Yeah.
it down.
Whether or not his knee hits it is a different story.
Because how low can you get? If you got like 1 inch from the ground, the other team's gonna think you downed it and not do anything, and then you're gonna run for a
That's
touchdown.
the idea
Yeah,
that I was getting
yeah,
at.
yeah. That's
Because
right.
they're all going to run on through, and you're just going to be
Right,
sitting there, and then as
right.
soon as they're through, you sprint.
Woo! I'm out of here. Yeah, I know it's
Yeah.
weird, right? All
Yeah.
right. Let's talk about briefly Tiger Woods playing at the Masters, right?
Sure.
He's one under through 13 holes. Plays has been suspended on day one because weather in Augusta, Georgia, this time of year is hit or miss.
And
Um,
yet they are playing a golf tournament
he
every
he
year this
has
time of year.
every year. He has 2 birdies and a bogey. He's at -1 through 13. He's actually tied for 17th. He's literally one shot out of ninth place. But it's the first round. Let's be honest.
Right.
And the best thing that could have happened for him was a delay because he's
Yeah,
old.
he gives
He's
the
not.
back time to
He's not young.
relieve a little bit.
Right. And I mean, but the problem is if you have to finish it tomorrow and then do your round tomorrow, it's a lot more golf. You know what I mean? That's 5 extra holes plus. So there's that.
They could do night golfing. They just gotta switch them out to glowing balls.
They should do that. I agree. I would watch a night golf event. You know what I was just thinking the other day, and I just said this. I just said this here at home to your mother. I said, you know what I would pay to watch every Sunday instead of golf. I would pay to watch 2 professional golfers go play miniature golf. I would watch that on TV. Watch them play
I
a
don't
whole
know.
miniature golf round, right? Mic them up.
Steph Curry
You get
did
it-
that with the whole holy moly thing.
You get a good yeah, but I want professional golfers playing golf. This is what I want because and a big huge prize, big prize money, right? And a good host that Charles
pitch
Barkley.
it to live
I don't know.
because the PGA is never agreeing to that.
I don't know. I would pay to watch that, especially if you could design a course that was awesome. Yeah. Not maybe just go to a regular putt course. Those are they're everywhere and they have the same kind of holes everywhere. I don't know. I would
Is Putt Putt still a company?
maybe.
I don't actually.
I want to say
know.
yes. I want to say that they have some, but there aren't many in the world. Used to go to one in Portland all the time. There was one on 122nd Avenue in Portland. Used to go there all the time.
Yeah, I don't think it's a company anymore. I think they went out of business.
Oh, probably.
Putt Putt Fun Center is what it was called.
Yeah.
A franchisor of Par 2 miniature golf business in several
Mhm.
states. I don't know. Apparently still open.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, crap.
I don't know. Anyway, your leader at the Masters on day one, Bryson DeChambeau, is at -7. He shot a 65 today. Come out and birdied the first 3 holes. He has a 1-shot lead over Scotty Scheffler, who is the favorite, if you believe the odds makers, and I don't in golf.
Good for Bryson to get out there and take the lead.
Yeah, he's got a 1-shot.
Sounds like he's worked on his short game a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. There's a lot of players. There's 5 guys here at -4 or better. A couple of those guys haven't even finished their round, so they still have a chance to move up. But everybody else is -3, -2, -1. Last year's winner, John Rahm, is +1 at the end of one round. He shot a 73 today, which puts him squarely behind Tiger Woods and Sergio Garcia and some other players that are old.
Right.
Yeah, he's tied with Phil Mickelson, by the way. So anyway, I like that the live golfers, the LAV golfers, get to play in the Masters with these guys. I don't care that you guys don't feel comfortable, you're angry at each other or whatever. You should all be playing golf
They're
together.
not anymore. They're all over that now
Eh,
that the PGA said that they're going to work with Live.
right. Yeah, but there's a lot of players still
So
carrying a grudge about the crap, and I'm like, meh, get over it.
yeah,
It's golf, man.
cry into your millions of
Yeah,
dollars
cry.
about
Yeah,
it.
go
Boo
home and
hoo.
go home and cry about it. Anyway, so we'll watch the Masters. We got we'll let everybody know who won because we're not gonna have another show before. I don't even know if we're gonna have a show next week. I'm gonna be in Denver next week on Thursday,
Live in Denver.
live in Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to do like a quick just recording. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like a
We could do something.
video, and
Yeah.
we'll post something and say, here we are live.
I have multiple microphones and everything.
Or maybe we'll do one from the Rockies game. We'll do like a live. Here, look, we're at the Rockies game.
Live broadcast.
Not really, just a quick update. Hey, look, here's the Rockies game. Anyway, Masters tournament is the first weekend after the first full week in April. Wait, no, it's the first full week. No, that's not right. I got to say it right because it changes. The dates change for the Masters. It's the first full week. No, that's not right. I feel like it's the first weekend after the first full week in April. That's how they phrase it. So depending upon when April 1st falls is when the Masters falls. So it's a weird, the way they do it is weird. So it's different every year. It's not the same date every year. It's not like the first weekend in April. It could be the second weekend in April like it is now.
Right.
Yeah, just based on when it falls. And by the way,
yeah, it says it's the first full week of April.
First full week. It's on the weekend after the first full week. That's how the phrasing is. Yeah.
Yeah, but they start practicing on like Wednesday or Tuesday or something like that.
Monday, the first practice round's Monday. They practice on Monday.
So then the first full week makes sense.
Yeah, they've been playing the whole week, and then Wednesday's the par 3 tournament. If you've ever get a chance to go to the Masters and you get a chance to go on Wednesday, watch the par 3. Par 3 tournament is amazing. Short little par 3 course that they have, and it's beautiful. And it's packed. There's a lot of people, and you have to kind of get your own little spot to sit down and watch. But there's some really neat things. Guys playing with their kids. Their kids are wearing little caddy outfits for them or whatever, and they're letting them putt and they're letting them hit balls. And it's a neat, less serious event. It's nice to have in the middle of the week. A lot of guys skip practice on Wednesday and just do the par 3 tournament, which is cool. But yeah, it's a really neat event. You see a lot of really neat pairings and a lot of families golfing together. It's really pretty cool. So, but if you get a chance to go to any of the Masters, it is by far one of the best run events I've ever been to in sports. And I just went to the practice rounds. And I will tell you what I know from the Masters. The prices are great. The concession prices are ridiculously cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, when I went, the last time I went was when did I go? The last time I went was 2008? No, that doesn't sound right. 2007. Last time I went was 2007. I went to the practice round on Wednesday. And anyway, in 2007, you can go buy a sandwich at the concession stand. They don't have things like fried food. They have sandwiches, right? That's what they have. Sandwiches, right. Water, chips, those kind of things, desserts. But a sandwich, you can go get an egg salad sandwich it was $2.50. And a bag of chips was $1, and a water was $2. And so for $5-6, you had a meal. It's not like going to a Major League Baseball game where it's $50 to go get a nachos and a beer. It was really affordable. Oh,
so here's their prices this year. I have them if you want to hear.
Yeah,
them.
What do you got?
An egg salad is $1.50.
$1.50. See, it's not even as much.
A pimento cheese sandwich is $1.50.
Whoa.
A Masters Club sandwich is $3.
That's the expensive one. Yeah.
Chicken salad on honey wheat is $3. Ham and cheese on rye, $3. Chicken classic, $3. Domestic and import beers, both $6, and then a crow's nest, which I'm assuming is a specific drink for the event because on the chart, it actually, or on their thing, it actually has a picture of the Masters emblem and it's written in a different font than everything else. So I don't know what a crow's nest is.
I don't either, but
you can go for the price of one beer at a Nuggets or Blazers game. You can have 3.
It was great. I remember buying 2 sandwiches and a bag of chips, and I was like, this is great. You know what I mean? I don't. The merchandise is expensive. If you go to the pro shop and you buy the merchandise, there's that, and they have merchandise stands throughout the place. But I will tell you, the concession stand prices amazing, and it is one of the when you walk on the places where the people are allowed to walk, right? Not you're
Yeah.
not yes, you can cross holes at certain places, but you're not allowed to walk down the golf hole, right? You're on the side, you're in the rough basically. You're in a no man's land, a wasteland, right?
Right.
It is better grass in that wasteland than any golf course I've ever played on. The
Nice.
grass that you walk on as a spectator is better than any golf course I've ever played on. No joke, no joke.
Sounds right.
And it's just stupid. It's stupid how it's just one of these moments when you walk out, you see the leaderboard, and the manual one that's up by you see the putting green, and the first tee and the 10th tee, and you see all these things that you've seen on TV. It's an amazing experience. So if you get a chance to go, practice round tickets. You can buy them like StubHub and places like that from people who got them, but it's a lottery system now, so you have to like enter. You go to masters.org and you can go enter to win tickets. But anyway, it's pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah, it's really neat. I'm just saying, if you've never been to a golf tournament, that's the one. If you can get there, go do it. Even if it's a practice round, you'll be amazed what you see. It's pretty cool. So anyway,
Okay, you're ready for this? I
Yeah.
just learned a lot about the Crow's Nest just now.
okay.
So first of all, it's a place in the building, right?
Oh, the Crow's
Nest
Nest.
is like an
Yeah.
amateur players area.
Okay.
But the beer, the Crow's Nest, is brewed for 1 week out of the year,
Who makes
and
it?
nobody knows who makes it.
Oh, is it?
It's a
I wonder if it's
mystery.
different every year, or if it's the same brewery. Like
Nobody knows.
Oh, that's
So
weird,
this
right?
guy wrote it in an article for golf.com back on April 9th. So what was that, yesterday, 2 days ago?
Yeah.
And he was trying to figure it out. And he called a couple of his friends who work in the brewing industry. He called somebody who works for Savannah Brewers or something like that.
Right.
And was like, hey, where is this made? And he said there's only two people that know, and that's the people at Augusta and the people who are making it.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so no one knows where the Crow's Nest is brewed, and it's brewed exclusively for the Masters, and it's not even available during the regular club season. Like, it's only during the Masters tournament.
Right. That's cool. That's
Cool.
That's neat.
Yeah.
$5,
a 20-ounce commemorative cup.
Here's your Masters trivia question. In 1986, Jack Nicklaus won the Masters at the age of 46. Right?
Yeah.
He's the oldest player to ever win the Masters. Who's second oldest? Who won it and was second oldest to Jack? And I'll give you a hint. He was 43 when he won.
Second oldest
Second
to win
oldest
the
to win the
Masters?
Masters. Second oldest player to ever win the Masters.
Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods is right. What year?
Yeah, he just won it a couple years ago, right?
2019.
Oh,
2019,
yeah, okay.
yeah.
That's about right. That was that was his comeback.
Yeah, only 7 players over the age of 40 have ever won the Masters. So there's So it's a young man's game. So there's that. Anyway, there you go. There's your Masters trivia for the day. Since we had a Masters, let's talk about the NCAA championship game. UConn 75, Purdue 60. I called this one. I said UConn was going to win this one because they were the better team all around. I think you did too. I feel like you said that
for
this
UConn?
the men's championship game. Yeah, I thought you said that.
I said UConn because
Yes.
I thought Purdue is good. I just think that and exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Zach Edey didn't go to the line constantly for the
No.
first half of the game, and changed the whole direction of the game.
As a team, Purdue shot 15 free throws, which is
Mhm.
probably 15 below their average.
Zach Edey had like 25 against Tennessee and like
Right.
20 against whoever they played after that.
He still had 37 points. Don't get me wrong. 37 points and 10 rebounds, 2 blocks.
He's good.
but he didn't get all of it from the free throw line. They made him earn it, which is good. That being said, only one other guy in double figures, and that was Smith, the guard. He had 12. So they had, the rest of the guys. There's only 3 other guys that scored. Right?
Mhm.
I mean, that's just ridiculous. By contrast, UConn still they had 7 guys that scored, but UConn was a more balanced attack. 4 guys in double figures. Right?
Yeah.
Newton led them with 20. They only shot 11 free throws. There were only 26 free throws in the whole game, which is weird, right? It feels like there should have been a lot more. But it's one of those championship rules, right? We're going to swallow the whistle, make them play it out on the floor. I don't know. It felt Purdue came out, and I thought Purdue was competing very nicely in the first half, right? And then all of a sudden they weren't. I don't know where it just happened, but it was like, all of a sudden.
Well, it was a 2-point game or 3-point game and a half or something like that.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, UConn just started hitting shots.
And that
everything they put up
Yeah.
went in for a while.
And that was the difference. I think it was actually it was a little more. What did UConn lead by at half? 6, 5, 6. It was somewhere in that ballpark.
I thought it was only like 2 or 3, but I could be wrong.
It was like
So.
5 or 6 points. But
Ah.
Purdue went through some long stretches where they couldn't score. But UConn's ability to hit the occasional 3-pointer was huge because they weren't great at it. They were 27% from 3. They weren't
Yeah.
great at it. They just hit them when they needed them. And it was
Dude, look at that consistency. Purdue had 30 and 30 in each half.
Yeah.
And UConn had 36 and 39 in each half.
Yeah.
It's just super consistent.
Yeah. So UConn's your national champion in the men's side. UConn, it was their 6th. Is that right? I want to say 6th national championship.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's right.
Yeah. UConn men's and women's basketball is no joke.
UConn has won 6 national championships, and I think there's only 3 teams that have won 6 or more. I think it's 4 teams now that have won 6 or more in the men's side. But that brings me to another trivia question, right? You ready?
Yeah.
Only one time in NCAA tournament history has the same 2 teams played for the national championship in back-to-back years.
Back-to-back years.
Back-to-back years. The same 2 teams played for the national title in back-to-back years. It only happened once. And I'll give you a boatload of money if you can tell me what years or who was in it. A boatload of money.
Is it not common teams?
Not right now.
Not right now.
One of them's been. Both teams have been to the NCAA tournament a number of times, but it's not like teams you would think of. It's not like Duke and Kentucky. It's not that kind of thing. No.
Okay.
And I'll give you. I will go so far as to tell you what year if you want, if you think you can guess the teams, but it probably wouldn't help you. So, but I'm just saying, I'm throwing it out there. There's only once does it happen. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think about teams that have won back-to-back titles.
And that's the key. Back-to-back titles.
And the most recent one I'm thinking of was Florida.
They did it in 06-07.
Florida was the most recent one that I could. Mm-hmm. Wait, no, UConn now.
Well, now it's UConn. Yeah, but before UConn it was Florida. Yeah.
But I can't remember anybody before that, so I'll go with Florida for 1. But I have no freaking clue who they played.
Well, you would be wrong. You would be wrong.
Older than that.
it happened 62 years ago. So 1961 and 1962, Cincinnati beat Ohio State in both those championship games in 61 and 62. Yeah, okay. Cincinnati and Ohio State. Yeah, both. Ohio was at its peak. That was the zenith for Ohio.
They were crushing basketball
right for 2 years.
Wait, who won each one?
Cincinnati won both.
Cincinnati won both.
Yeah, they won them both.
Woo!
Yeah,
I like the Bearcats, so that's okay.
So there you go. There's your men's trivia question. In the women's game, it was South Carolina beating Iowa.
Yeah,
and it was Iowa started.
I took
hot.
Iowa in this one.
Iowa started out hot. I mean, they did. I don't know who I picked. I can't even remember, but I think I picked Iowa.
I thought you picked South Carolina.
I might have. I don't remember. I feel like I didn't. I'm not going to give myself a credit for it.
Fair enough.
But it was a 3-point game at the half, and then it was slowly South Carolina just kind of pulling away in the second half. 13 points by Iowa in the third quarter was all they could muster, and they fell behind. It was still Caitlin Clark with 30, right? But she was 10 of 28 from the floor. They frustrated her, made it harder for her to score. And again, South Carolina was a better balanced. I don't know if I would say that better balanced. Maybe a little, because Iowa had four people in double figures, but only their starter scored. No bench points. 0 bench points for Iowa in this game. That makes it really hard.
That's a problem.
Yeah, that's a real problem. But anyway, it was I don't know. It was a relatively good game. Here's what I didn't like. I'm gonna tell you the one thing I didn't like about watching this game. And that is, why does South Carolina have yellow on their uniforms? What is that about? Where did they?
I think it's a thing like a thing that like how Tennessee has the baby blue on theirs to soften the orange and white look. I think that's a thing that they do too.
I have been watching sports for a long time. I've watched South Carolina play multiple sports, and I've never seen them use yellow. Now all of a sudden, this team is SC, and they're yellow and maroon. How is that not a copyright infringement? USC, you need to get on the ball. That's all I'm saying. Because
I
they
never
look like
noticed
USC
either.
uniforms all of a sudden. I was like, this is South Carolina? Why are there yellow out there? They're not yellow. I've never seen yellow on a South Carolina uniform, and I've watched a lot of sports. So weird. It's just weird that it appeared in this game against a team that wears yellow. I don't know if that was a thing or I mean I don't even know. I'm just throwing conspiracy crap out there. Anyway,
I'm trying to find out. Like I just Googled it and I don't have an answer yet.
It's not part of their
Like,
official colors. Yellow.
What's up with South Carolina girls wearing yellow on their uniform? Well, this is a chat room,
right?
That no one responded to
because no one knows the answer, right? I feel like that's the
maybe
answer. No one knows why that happened. Anyway, but it happened. Anyway, South Carolina undefeated season 38-0, which leads us to your women's basketball trivia question. Are you ready?
Yeah.
How many times has a women's team gone unbeaten and won the NCAA tournament? Just need the number. How many times does it happen?
4.
It's 10.
Oh,
and
way low.
It's 10, and 6 of them are UConn. So UConn has gone unbeaten 6 times and won the national championship. SC this latest time, right? Baylor in 11-12, Tennessee in 97-98, and Texas in 85-86. Those are the teams that have gone unbeaten and won it all. And by the way, the best record for any men's team that has ever gone unbeaten and won the NCAA tournament is 32-0. Okay? But the last time it happened was Indiana in 75-76. They were 32-0. These teams for the women's team, none of them have less than 34 wins. 40-0, 38-0, 39-0. How are the women's teams playing so many more games than the men's team? That's what I don't know. Because there's San Francisco, the University of San Francisco, in 1955-56, they won the national championship. They were 29-0. All right.
Huh.
But there were less teams in the NCAA tournament back then. It was 48 or something, right? So you have one less round or whatever.
Yeah.
But it seems like, and I'm sure there wasn't a conference tournament, so there's a couple more games, right? It's just weird that there's such a big disparity in terms of how many games the women played since 97-98. Since Tennessee went 39-0, 38-0 is the lowest record for a women's undefeated team. 38 wins. The men's teams have never had more than 32. And UCLA was 4 of those at 30-0. Just weird. Just a weird anomaly. I don't know. But anyway, there's that. I know, right? That was all the trivia. That's all the trivia I have.
That's a good one.
I know, right?
I guessed way low, way under.
Yeah, but I guess you weren't counting on how many times UConn has actually done it. Six times. Undefeated 6 times. UConn women's team is the best they're number 1 all time in terms of women's teams. You know what I mean? They're just way above everybody else. Kind of like UCLA basketball on the men's side, although they haven't won anything recently. Still, when you have 11 titles, you're you know what I mean? You're one of those teams that it's amazing. So anyway.
Okay, I found the thing behind the yellow.
Okay.
So there is a fan who used to come to all the games. His name was Gamecock Jesus. Carlton Thompson was his name. And he used to always wear yellow Crocs. And he went for many years.
Okay.
And he always had a what's it called? Yeah, he always had a bandana and a garnet shirt and said "Believe." He always held up a flag and a sign, but he would always go to every single men's and every single women's game. And he passed away in 2023, December 6, 2023. So so very recently. So they made a jersey for the back half of the season that featured yellow on it.
Okay. And that's all I needed to hear.
It's about the yellow Crocs.
You had me at Gamecock Jesus. So
yeah,
I was in at that
Gamecock
point.
Jesus. Yep.
That's all I needed to hear.
Gosh, that took some digging. I had to Google a whole bunch of crap, and they didn't put out any press release on it. I had to find a local South Carolina website, news website that wrote a story on it.
They don't.
That was too much.
They don't call him the best color man in the business for nothing.
That's correct.
Anyway,
by the way, I am the crack research department.
Yeah, we're not paying you enough, clearly, because that was really good. I figured that this would go unanswered forever. I didn't figure it was a thing because I wasn't going to look it up.
One of those mysteries left to time.
I was not going to look it up.
I brought it back.
I was like, meh, why is it yellow? I was just going to leave it at that mystery of, this is dumb. Why is it yellow? It makes sense.
I almost steered away from it, because I wasn't getting anything, and then I was like, you know what? I'll Google a couple more things and see what happens.
And when you can't find it, doesn't that just make you want to go after it harder?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the internet has everything.
The information's out there.
Yeah.
Where it's not, and no one's ever spoken about it ever.
And then you sit there incredulously like, there's no way no one's ever asked this question. You know, because
Well, I found like 10 posts where people were like, "What's up with the yellow?" So I knew people were wondering.
because you know as well as I do, when you go to that Google search and everyone does, and you type in how do I or where
What
do
do I?
I or what do I, right? And then it auto fills in all those responses, all those things pop up, and the first thing under how do I is kill someone with a butter knife. And you go, why would you Google that? What is? But someone has asked that question. And if someone has asked that question, they've asked every question imaginable. You know what I mean? And you're like,
Yeah.
I don't even understand how this works. But then when you can't find something, you just sit there kind of stunned, like, there's no way this can't be on the internet. It has to be somewhere. This information is there, and you found it.
Have you ever heard of Google bubbles?
What's
So like each person has a Google bubble, and so if you were to Google what color is the 1966 Ford Mustang, and I were to Google what color is the 1966 Ford Mustang, our top 10 results
are different
will probably be different
based on what we searched
and it's
before?
based on other things we've searched, based on other things that we've asked, based on information collected by Google and stuff like that. So everybody has a Google bubble. So, and this is done to move information your way that you might like or might be relevant to what you tend to like. And this is why you have people, if you have hard left or hard right leaning biases, you will get hard left or hard right leaning bias search results
And it'll just feed you
that
further
fit
down
your
that rabbit hole.
yeah, it just kind of pushes you one way or the other. But yeah, I did a project in a social something class in college, and it was like go to 6 people and have them search the same thing, and then take note of their Google bubbles for
Oh,
all
gotcha.
6 people, and
Interesting.
all 6 people were different.
Let's try that. Let's test it out. You got your computer up, right?
Yeah.
What do we want to search?
I don't know.
When you
That's
come,
a tough one.
what can we search?
What's the best beer?
Okay, let's type it.
What's the best with an question mark at the
but
end?
then you got with a question. I'll put the question mark. So now, what's the first thing down there?
So my first one that pops up that isn't a promoted ad is tastingtable.com. 40 most popular beers ranked worst to best.
Hold on. I got to do this in a different spot because you're talking about responses once you hit enter, right?
Yeah.
I was talking about.
No, yeah.
I was talking about
I
on
know
the
what you
bar,
mean.
on the search bar.
I'm
what
talking
pops
about
in.
like I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like the results it gives you. My first one is this tasting table website.
Tasting
My second
table.
one's a Reddit.
Reddit.
Reddit. What is the expert certified good beer? Yep. Dealish, the top 31 best beers to drink right now.
I have Taste of Home and thrown in there. The best cheap beer brands ranked.
Taste of Home is farther down my list, but it's not pushed up towards the top. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so you go through them and you just start realizing, everyone's got kind of different search results.
And then there's a Quora one right here that says, what brand of American beer is clearly the best tasting? Clearly
that
the
is
best
my
tasting.
Next one, yeah.
How is that?
Clearly.
How could you
And then
ever
I get promoted
that?
YouTube videos of the craft beer channel.
Yep.
On here. So we're getting similar ones.
All right.
But
yeah, I was talking about when you get the search bar and you type in your question and what pops up that's already been searched for, right?
That's
those
are
kind of weird
thing.
Yeah. Anyway,
but I'm also I just realized I'm not signed into my Google account here, so I'm just getting like more of the generalized ones versus the personalized ones.
I am signed in, so
yeah.
As the best Lamm Sports Show. Look at that. All right.
Nice.
Let's. All right. We're gonna skip over. We're gonna talk about one more thing because I can. We're gonna skip right through basketball. We'll talk about it later, and hockey too, for that matter. Let's talk about. I know. We'll talk about it next time we get on, and we'll talk about the playoffs because the playoffs are coming.
Yeah.
Formula One was in Japan this last weekend. If you didn't watch it, that's probably best. Max Verstappen wins his third out of 4 races. The only race he didn't win was the one his brakes caught fire. But Verstappen first, Sergio Perez second, and Carlos Sainz third. Kind of how it's been. I mean, this is kind of the norm. And he has a pretty clear cut lead now, 77 points. He's only 13 points ahead of Sergio Perez, but it's only because he missed a whole race and didn't score any. And Charles Leclerc is technically ahead of Carlos Sainz in third, still, but it is, and that's because Sainz missed a race because he had, what did he have? Did he have an appendix issue? What did he have? He had something.
He had appendicitis. He had his
Appendicitis.
appendix
Yeah,
removed.
that's what it was.
Yep.
And
And
couldn't
so
race.
did his dad
And that's where
at one point. So they posted pictures. Carlos recreated that picture that his dad took of him,
and that's
like in the hospital and stuff.
that's where we got Ollie Bierman, who came in and got 6
That's
points for
right.
the team. Yeah, he scored. That was a good race for him. Anyway, so there's that. But it's a 77-64 lead, and Red Bull's way out in front in the constructors standings now, right? 141. They're 21 points ahead of Ferrari already. It's kind of what we expected. Again,
Yeah.
I think it's more fun to watch qualifying than it is to watch the race lately.
At this point, yeah.
Unless you watch the race for like 4th and 5th or 5th and 6th, those kind of races can be fun to watch inside the race. But if you're watching for who's going to win, they don't even hardly show Max Verstappen anymore. He's not even on the screen.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not exciting to watch.
Nope.
It's not fun to watch. I'll tell you what's still kind of fun to watch is watching street courses.
Yeah.
Regular open courses, you get like 10-second leads and you just walk away from it. But street courses, you still get crashes.
See, and that's the thing. When I first started watching, and this was, I guess this is the 4th year. This might be the 4th or 5th year that I've been watching.
Because it's my 3rd year watching it.
I think it's my 4th year. When I started watching Formula One, you saw crashes in turn 1 on a lot of courses. It happened every other race. There was a crash right off the bat that shook up the whole order of things. It doesn't happen anymore. You just don't see it. There was a crash in this one on the start, but it was for like 14th place. This guy's way back. It wasn't at the beginning, at the front. I mean, I can remember where was it, Monza or whatever, with Verstappen ending up on top of
Hamilton,
right? I mean, that was turn 2, I think, right? And you're like, what?
That really was, like, F1 fans can say whatever they need. That was the peak.
The peak
of F1 super fan. Like, it got so much interest and so much buzz, and those two are wrecking and yelling at each other.
It was heated. The bosses didn't like each other. It
was perfect.
The calls into the pit, or the calls in from the boss, it was so angry. They were angry all the time. It was fun and these guys were going at it. You knew there was going to be a collision. You just knew that there was going to be a tangle at some point, and there was. At
some point, it's coming. Yep.
Yeah. And it was. I'm not going to say it like I said the other day. When you go to a hockey game and there's not a fight, you're disappointed. It's kind of the same thing in Formula One. If you went to a NASCAR race and there wasn't a crash, you lost your money. You just paid for nothing.
Yeah.
So Formula One's the same way. So anyway, there's that. But anyway, I still watch it. I'm gonna still watch Formula One. I like it. I like the way the format is. I like the system. I still wish they would qualify independently and not all together, because I think that's causes a problem. But I think one person should be out on the track at a time qualifying. You run your lap and then you get off, and then another guy runs his lap and he gets off. Right? And then you got no excuses. Oh, well, he was slowing me down. Oh, well, this was this, or I got a drag from this guy because I pulled up right behind him. There's no excuses. It's just you and your car.
I'm excited to watch the next one because I've never watched a Chinese Grand Prix.
I don't think they've had one since.
They haven't had it. So
yeah.
In 2020 and 2020 to 2023, it was canceled because of the pandemic.
It's COVID, yeah.
Yeah, so this will be the first year since 2019, which is right before I started watching. So you had to have been watching for 5 years.
5 years.
It has to be.
It has two. Yeah. It has two giant straightaways on this track.
Yeah,
it's gonna be.
It kind of reminds me a lot of Miami's course.
A little bit. But yeah, it's gonna have some DRS. It's got two giant straightaways for DRS. That's gonna be interesting. Yeah, I haven't seen it either. It's in Shanghai, so that's not this weekend. It's next weekend.
Is it a night race?
No,
it's a day race. I'm looking at pictures. Yep.
For us, it will be at midnight.
Well, yeah.
On the 21st, it happens at midnight.
Like. Yeah. I love when races are
right
normal time for us. I will tell you, when we were visiting Europe, it was right around F1 start. And it was fun to watch races in local time, except for the first two races were in the Middle East, so it was still kind of a weird time for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun to watch. Like, I think I got to watch one race in like regular, like at like 3:00 in the afternoon. I'm like, this is nice.
Right.
Not 7 a.m. or 11 p.m.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, next week. It's not next week. Yeah, it is next week. It's not this weekend. It's next weekend, 18th through the
Yeah.
21st. The Lenovo Chinese Grand Prix in Shanghai at the Shanghai International Circuit. Never seen it. Don't know.
Right.
56 laps, 13 turns. I don't know. Does that matter? I don't really
Yeah.
know.
I mean, it in theory, it's still going to be Max
Yeah,
out
yeah,
in front by 10 seconds and everyone just fighting to catch up.
right. And I think that the ones you want to watch, I don't think the Miami Grand Prix is that exciting either. Just the course, the way
Right.
it's set up. But you get to um, you get to Monaco, which is anybody's race. It's a matter of how you
Just
qualify.
crashes.
If you
Yeah.
qualify first, you have a great chance to win, unless you run into a wall, and that happens. Um,
That's the only problem with that course is that whoever the last I think 6 or 7 races, whoever qualified first won the race.
right, and all you have to do is get a
So
good
it's like,
start, and you're out, right? Um,
yeah, that's the other key to it. If
yeah,
you get that good start, then
the ones
you can be.
the ones I like to watch, the best part of the season is coming up because I like watching the Austrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring and then Silverstone, right? Those
I
are
think Silverstone might be my favorite course.
yeah, those are fun to watch. And then even at Spa, I know it's going to rain. I get it. Um, but and then Zandvoort, those like four, and then Monza. So technically, there's 5 in a row this year. Those 5 are really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Those are good courses to watch. Monaco is a fun one to watch because you don't know what's going to happen. Anybody can touch a wall and it's over. But yeah, normally the guy that finishes first in qualifying is the guy. So yeah, it's interesting to watch. So I like Formula One for this reason. There's different tracks. It's not always the same. You go in a lot of different places, but yeah. Anyway, there's that. Anything else before we go?
Not that I got. Oh wait, have you seen the TV show Jack Ryan?
The the one on Amazon, is it on Amazon?
Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Krasinski.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah,
I just started watching it.
I've watched 2 seasons, or
Uh,
how many
so have
are
I.
there?
There are 4, and I'm in season 4 right now.
I'm trying to remember. I haven't watched that far. I know that either I watched season 3. I just typed in Jack season. That doesn't work right.
Season 3 was the one involving Russia.
Yeah, I watched season 3. So
Okay, so
I
then,
probably
you're
have.
on
I
to
was starting season 4, but I haven't seen it.
season 4 is the last season.
Okay.
It's I just started watching it. I think I'm 2
Yeah,
episodes into it or something like that.
the first season was really really good.
First season was okay. I really
it.
liked the second and third season.
I like the third season too, but the second
Third season's
season
really good.
I didn't. I don't know. I didn't like it as much. Your mom and I are watching all these things. We watched this. We watched this, binged it. You know what I mean? Until we got caught
Yeah.
up ish, and then it wasn't out. So I think the last season just came out this last year, right?
Yeah,
but
recently, within like the last 6 months.
But we didn't. We'd already moved on to some other show. Right now it's The
Yeah.
Sopranos. I got about 7 episodes
Ugh.
left of The Sopranos. Just trying to. I like
It's
it.
a grind.
It is.
It's a grind.
It's hard. It's really some of the episodes and some of the things that happen are just so. I don't know, but it's a good show. I like it.
It is.
You end
Yeah.
up. It's one of those. It's kind of like Game of Thrones. You don't know who's going to die next, right?
It's
someone's
true.
going to die. You just don't know who it is.
HBO knows what they're doing.
Right. So anyway, that's what we've been watching. And after that's over, I kind of want something a little lighter. I was thinking about Veep. Right. I haven't seen.
I hear
Veep.
Veep is pretty good.
Yeah, I hear that one's pretty.
You're
good.
just going through the whole HBO catalog.
Well, a little bit more funny. I want to try something a little lighter.
If you've never watched Entourage from start to
It's
finish,
hard for me. I've watched some of it.
It's good enough. The problem is like the first 4 seasons of the show are just like individual episodes of kind of who cares. But then like the last 3 seasons, they start stringing together like narratives and plot lines, and it starts to go, okay, there's more to it. Yeah.
I have a hard time with. I had a hard time with like The League, right? That
League
was
it has a similar vibe to it.
right. The League was that kind of show. It's
so
funny.
stupid.
Some of it's funny, but it just gets old after a while. It gets ridiculously. You know what I mean? The ridiculousness of it, I guess, is what I'm going at.
Well, and that's why shows like Community. Well, if
Community
you haven't watched
was-
Community,
Yeah, I watched some of the Community.
and then
but I like stupid. Don't get me wrong. I like stupid funny. Sometimes it's like way over the top ridiculous. Like Parks and Rec. Parks and Recreation is a great series. I
Yeah.
can watch that every time it comes on. I can watch every episode. It's funny.
It's never unbelievable.
Right. It's not so over the top that you go, oh, this is not. You know what I mean? Absolutely. But and you know that once you get invested in the characters and you know how they behave, then this becomes normal, right? The way they react is normal, like The Office,
Did
right?
you ever get as far enough into Community to see like the paintball registration episodes?
No,
So they
no.
had like a campus-wide um, competition, and whoever won it got first pick of registration, right? And that was the reward.
That's awesome.
But it was like a paintball contest. So
I,
they all
I,
had these little paintball guns, and if you get shot, you're out. But
I
last
like
man
it.
standing, right?
I like it.
It turns into it's a 2-episode arc that turns into like a post-apocalyptic world in the college
That's great.
where where they're all battling it out. And so that's where like okay, we're getting away from reality a little bit, but then it reels it back.
Who wins it?
with another one.
Was it one of the people in one of the
Shirley.
mains? Oh, okay.
I think Shirley wins it because no one thinks she's a threat, and then at the very end, I think what's his name? I think Joel McHale's character thinks he's won it, and and then Shirley shoots him and takes it.
I started laughing because we watch Animal Control. If you haven't seen Animal Control,
I watched my first episode yesterday. It's pretty good.
It's pretty funny. It's not super funny, but it's funny enough. And coming up, I guess, on the next episode, Ken Jeong is going to be.
I watched it.
Is that the one you watched?
I watched the first one I watched.
I haven't seen
the
that
one with him.
That would be funny because
the
reunion is going to be funny. It's
brings him back.
Right.
Ken Jeong's character ends up like the leader of a gang of rebels in this, not that episode, in Community, in that community paintball arc.
Right.
Yeah, he's like a leader of a gang of rebels who have, it's so stupid. Because you have teachers, like at one point, Joel McHale's like, why are teachers competing?
Right. Oh, that's funny.
It just glossed right over it.
All right. Well, that's all we have for this week. We're not going to have a show next week. The following week will be interesting. If I get back in time and I have time, we will definitely do a show. I think we'll have time. We'll do a show.
Yeah.
So it'll be the 25th, Thursday the 25th. That'll be the next show. But yeah, next week we'll be on location. The Best Lamb Tour will be on the road. So,
or maybe what we'll do is we'll record a couple clips.
Yeah.
Us at the Rocky game
and
we'll play them during the podcast. Yeah, next week.
We should do that. We should short little videos and put them on. Yeah, that'd be good. Let's do that.
I need to go buy one of those tiny little microphones that you plug into your phone.
Perfect.
Have you seen those?
No.
They're like little ones.
That's great. We need to do that. So yeah, we'll have something. If nothing else, we'll have pictures from the game.
Yeah.
So we'll have something. But pictures from the Rockies Mariners game that we're going to. So that'll be fun. Anyway. So that's all I really have for today. I don't have. Well, I got music. Right? I don't even know how. What I don't really know is how loud it is. I know when I hear the recording, I can tell, but like right now, I don't know how loud it is. Plus, this is the 30-second clip, and I think it's going to run out on me.
It could stand to go up in volume like 15%. Yeah.
This one has the dramatic ending, right? I like that because it's got the dramatic ending. And then there's this one. Anyway, and I didn't even change the date on the show. Look, it still says April 4th.
Well,
as an FYI, sometimes I forget to do stuff, and it happens. I mean, so there are times when I forget what I'm doing. I'm gonna throw that out there. I get in a hurry to do stuff, and so now it's probably right now, right? So there you go.
Yeah.
April 11th. Look at that. 2024.
Perfect.
I changed it. There you go. Fixed it. It's fixed. Just in time to change it for next time. Anyway, want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank our sponsors, The Range in Yakima, Boss Kitty Yarns, and Stavenstone Wine Estates in River. This has been a Brain Rock production, a division of Lonely Tree Media, LLC. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you in 2 weeks.